In this video, you will see the second part in solving money or coin problems. Let's proceed to number 2. In a wallet with 20 peso bills and 50 peso bills, the total amount is 1,200 pesos. If the number of 20 peso bills is 5, less than 4 times the number of 50 peso bills, how many bills of each kind are there? Now, if we talk about this problem, it's a little bit easier in terms of quality since we don't have point something just like in 75 centavo, 25 centavo coins. But we have a little bit of concern as to their relationship. Anyway, let's start with A. And there are actually two types of, not coins now, bills. We have 20 peso bills and 50 peso bills. With that in mind, these are the qualities. So let's proceed with the quantity, the representation. Looking at this statement here, we need to decide which of the type of bill has a lesser number and which has the bigger number of bills. Not the value, but quantity. If the number of 20 peso bills is 5, less than 4 times the number of 50 peso bills. Okay? So which of the two has a lesser number of bills? Again, let me repeat. If the number of 20 peso bills is 5 less than 4 times, do not be confused with when you say 5 less than, and you might think that the number of 20 peso bill is lesser than the 50 number of 50 peso bills. Look at the situation is 5 less than 4 times the number of 50 peso bills. In this case, the type of bill which has a lesser in number is actually the 50 peso bill. So let X be the number of 50 peso bills. With that, we could actually again decide what would be the number of 20 peso bills. But it should always be connected to the statement here. It states like this: if the number of 20 peso bills is 5, less than 4 times the number of 50 peso bills. And since we have denoted X as the number of 50 peso bills, we could use that in this situation. But you might be saying 5 less than 4 times the number of 50 peso bills. And just like this. Again, when you have the term less than, you might want to review that as part of your preparation. It interchanges the two terms. So it's not like this. It will actually be Rx minus 5. Again, 4x minus 5. This is the number of 20 peso bills. And then let's come up with a table. Before our translation, sorry, that's a little bit bigger. Let's have it like this. And then we are expected to have 3 rows and 3 columns for the quality, quantity, and the product. Again, supposedly it's amount, but not to um, what we call that be confused with the term amount later on as the total. So let's just use the product. By the way, if you will start with quantity here and quality for the next column, it's just the same because when we talk about product multiplication, it's commutative. Whichever comes first, it will result to the same value. But let's just start with quality. So I have here 50 peso in terms of value. So you have 50.00. I do understand that there might be no need for decimal places here, but let me just place it like that so that I could emphasize that this is all about money. And I have here 20 peso bills. The quantity of 50 peso bills is given in our first step as X. That's what we don't know. And that is supposedly the smaller in quantity. And for the 20 peso bills, you have 4x minus 5. For the product, simply multiply it. You will have 50.00 times x. Sorry, this is point, not a comma. And for the next product, you will have 20.00 times 4x minus 5. This is now the time that we could translate once we are done with the table. And when we translate, again, we will be using this notation, right? Because we are given here of a total amount. By the way, we are not given here with the situation like the value of the 50 peso bill is equal to twice, like that. We are just given with the total amount. So it's more like this. Okay. Total amount for the first, you will have here 50 at 0.00x times x rather, times you have 20.00 times 4x minus 5. It must be equal to the total amount in the wallet, which is 1,200 pesos. That's your translation. Let's proceed to our implementation. We are going to multiply. So you have here 50x and distribute, or okay, I don't understand. We may copy this still here if you want to, so that I could scribble down notations. You have 50x plus, you're going to distribute that 20 times 4, so you will have 80x. 20 times 5, you will have, or negative 5, negative 100, and we have here 1, 2. I am now removing the decimal places for in the meantime, since it doesn't have any use here. So you have this answer 130x minus 100 is equal to 1,200. Add both sides by 100 so that you could continue, and you will have the result of 130. X is equal to 1,300. Probably you already know where we're going to. So we are going to divide both sides by 130. Cancel that out. The result will be x equals, you remove that, 10. This is the value for x, which also corresponds to the number of 50 peso bills. So this is your number of 50 peso bills. Okay. Since we are to solve also the number of 20 peso bills, so we have here our overplay, and it actually stands for its representation in step C or step 2. You have 4x minus 5, where x is 10. So you have 4 times 10 minus 5. You will have 40 minus 5. And you're expected to have 35. What is this? 4x minus 5 is 20 peso bills. So you are going to have here the number of 20 peso bills. Okay, that's it for the result for O. And then similarly earlier, we are going to have here the checking or the step N neutralization, where we are to check whether the amount is the same we are expected to have to multiply the quality and the quantity. So we have these two results here. There are 10 pieces of 50 peso bill. By the way, do not be worried if I have written it like this and earlier I have 50 first before x. Again, multiplication is commutative, so it is still okay. Plus the 35 pieces of 20 peso bills. Will it result question mark to here 1,200 pesos. Let's try 50 times 10 or 10 times 50 is 500. Here, sorry, that's plus 700. Though it's now specified, let's just continue further down. You will have 1, 2 equals check mark 1, 2. This now is the proof that the number of 50 peso bills is correctly to be assumed 10 pieces, and the number of 35 of rather 20 peso bills is 35. So the final result here in statement form, you could may say there are 10 pieces of 50 peso bills and 35 pieces of 20 peso bills. This is now the endpoint of item number 2. So more or less, the situation will just look like that. The translation will be looking like this since we are given with the amount. By the way, if the situation will tell us that the number or the total amount for 50 peso bills is, let's just like for example, 4 times the amount of 20 peso bills, so you might going to translate it differently. Just for these three items, it will look like this. So the last item is for this one. In the piggy bank, a number of 5 peso coins is 20 more than the number of 20 peso bills. Also, the number of 1 peso coins is 10 times as much as the number of 20 peso bills. If the total savings is 170 pesos, then how many of each kind are there? So here we have uh, shown that there are now three types of coins or money or bills. How do we state it like this? There is a bill, there is a coin. So we are just simply going to say here three qualities, right, of money. Right? Because I cannot say coins or bills because it has 20 peso bills, it has 5 and 10 peso coins, but we also have 20 peso coins right now. But anyway, let's just have like that. So we have this one, three qualities. So we expect that our table later will be having additional row for the third type of coin. But this is the critical part, the representation. Since there are three of them, we need to understand which of the three has the smaller number. Or you could look at this way. Which of the three qualities of money or in this situation is connected to both? Okay, to both. Look at the situation. The number of 5 peso coins is 20 more than 20 peso bill. So the number of 5 peso coins is connected to the number of 20 peso bills and vice versa. The second statement, the number of 1 peso coins is 10 times as much as the number of 20 peso bills. So the number of 1 peso coins is connected to the number of 20 peso bills. But there is no given situation here that the number of 5 peso coins is connected somehow to the number of 1 peso coins. This would mean that both of these two qualities, the 5 peso coin and the 1 peso coins, are connected to one or the third type of coin, which is 20 peso bills. To make it easier, we are going to assume or the value of the variable to that type of money that is connected to the other two, which is the 20 peso bills in this case. So we are going to give x be the number of 20 peso bills. Why? Because if you're going to have X for the number of 20 peso bills, you can now assume the representation in symbolic form for the number of 5 peso bills because they are connected, and to the 1 peso bill because they are connected. You can still use X as 1 peso bill, but you're going to relate one to the other and to the other as well. This is similar to, as I've mentioned in the age problems, look at the present because the present moving forward and backward is easier than the other two around. Okay, so that is situation now. Now that we have that, we are going to decide the number of, let's start with 5 peso coins. And then also be the number of 1 peso coins. Let's start with the relationship with the 20 peso bills and 5 peso coins. In the first statement, the number of 5 peso coins is 20 more than the number of 20 peso bills. So it tells us that the number of 5 peso coins is a lot, or the quantity is a lot bigger than the 20 peso coins. And by how much? 20 more than. That's actually the keyword for addition. So if X stands for the number of 20 peso bills, the number of 5 peso coins should be X plus 20. As stated here, 20 more than. Okay? Now going to the next statement, the number of 1 peso coins is 10 times as much of the number of 20 peso bills. So whatever would be the number of 20 peso bills, multiply it by 10 and you will get now the number of 1 peso coins. In this case, its representation is 10x, 10 times as much. With this 3 in mind, let us now have our table. I'm going to have it a little bit bigger or move it closer here because we are expecting to add another row. Okay, it might not be perfect, but anyway. So I have like that, and the columns will still be like this. Or let me have it closer here and like that. Sorry, it's not that straight. So you have here the quality, the quantity, or you might interchange them. No worries about that. And again, we will use product then amount so that it will not be misconceived as the given here's total savings as well. So you have here the quality to be 20 peso bill. For going to arrange it just like this. The 20 peso bill stands for 20.00. It's okay to do that. Okay, or you may just say 20, but let me just write it that way. I have here 5 peso coins and 1 peso coins. We don't know how many are they, but we have represented them already here. So the number of 20 peso coin bills rather is X. 5 peso coin is X plus 20. And 1 peso coin is 10x. So the product is simply the product of each separately. So you have 20.00 times x. Again, this is point. Let me have it like that. Point. Okay. Then you have 5.00 times x plus 20 times. And finally, you have 1.00 times 10 x. Now that we have this, we can now translate them using this column here. Since we are going to have the product of each quality and quantity, there are three of them. Let me have here like this equal to 170. Why does it look like this again? Because you have the statement in the last part. if the total rather savings is 170 pesos. In short, accumulation of all those three types of money is 170. Simply add all them up and you will have 170 pesos. And its translation shall be 20.00 times x plus 5.00 times x plus 20 plus 1.00 times 10x. Their sum must be 170.00. Are we now ready to implement? Let's start the implementation here. Let me just copy this first so that I could manipulate this and not destroy the translation. So I could have here 20x distribute plus 5x. 5 times 20 is 100 times you have 10x equal to 170 pesos. Or, okay, since we have removed already the decimal parts of the others, let's just remove this as well. Add all terms with excess. So 20 plus 5 plus 10, you will have 35x plus 100 is equal to 170. Subtract both sides by 100. You will have here 35x equal to 70 pesos. And then probably you could see already the result as we divide by 35 here and here as well using properties of equality. The result for x is 2. 70 divided by 35 is 2. And what does this represent? Going back to our situation, the number of 20 peso bills. So this is again the number of 20 peso bills. We are going to check it later. No worries about that. The first thing that we need to do next is to determine the number of 5 peso and 1 peso coins, since the question is how many of each kind are there. So for our overplay, let's start with number of 5 peso coins. That's x plus 20. So x plus 20, where x is 2 plus 20, you will have 22. And what are these 22 pieces of 5? Number of 5 peso coins. And then the next overplay, still have one more because we have another type of coin here, 1 peso coins, 10x. 10x, where it's 10 times 2, you will have 20. And what are these? We have 20 pieces of, I could use pieces, but I'm just using number since I have also used here number earlier. Number of 1 peso coins. Okay, so to make sure that these answers are correct, we could always check. Last step for this last item and the last video for the second grading, you will have here the checking amounts. You have here this 170 supposedly, or should be 170 pesos. So you have here how many pieces of 20 peso bills. You will have 2 pieces of 20 peso bills plus 22 pieces, this one, of 5 peso bills plus finally 20 pieces of 1 peso coins. Sorry, 5 peso coins rather, not bill, and 1 peso coin. You'll have here 170.00. By the way, there was a bill, 5 peso bill before. I don't know if if you were able to see them, but there was a bill before for 5 peso and even 10 peso. bills. So continue, question mark still. 2 times 20 will have 40 plus 22 times 5. Need to multiply that properly. You have 110. 20 times 1, 20. Question mark still, even it looks like the same already. 40 times 110, 150 plus 20, 170, 170, question mark. Finally, we are now sure that the results 20 pieces of, 2 pieces rather of 20 peso bills, 22 pieces of 5 peso coins, and 20 pieces of 1 peso coins sums up to 170 peso savings. So to finalize our statement could be there are 2 pieces of 20 peso bills. Tama? 22 pieces of 5 peso coins. And 20 pieces of 1 peso coins. This is now the result for number 3. Again, let me try to check if the results are correct. There are 2 pieces of 20 peso bills, correct? 22 pieces of 5 peso coins, correct? And 20 pieces rather of 1 peso coins. This is now the correct answer for number 3. This is how we answer these 3 items here, which is actually concerned with money or coin problems. I'm just going to give one more disclaimer. Okay, you might be thinking that this is the translation all the time. It depends on the situation. After all, these 3 items looks the same because we are talking about a total amount. But there, if there were situations like the total amount of 50 peso bills was twice or is twice the number of 20 peso bills, you need to look at how do we translate them properly and then proceed with the correct processes. This is our last video for the second grading. So please prepare for your assessment, and I'm hoping that you could actually have a better score later. God bless everyone. Goodbye. See you soon.